out here in the pasture. It's a beautiful spring day with the flowers and everything. And I was looking out at our herd. Let me zoom in a little bit. And I realized something that I see all the time, but doesn't really bother me. But I realized that all of our horses are brown. So I don't look at our horses and say, oh look, it's a herd of brown horses. But to most people, they look out and see that probably about 90% of our herd is brown in some way, shape, or form. Now, in the horse industry, in the horse world, we do have a lot of brown genetics. The red gene is the dominant gene. So it is the easiest to produce. And a good breeder will not breed for color. They're gonna breed for conformation, good feet, good eyes, strong build, stuff like that. So especially here, we are definitely not worried about color. We're worried about safety of the horse, health of the horse, and so when we bring horses out here, we're not really worried about the color. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a girl. I like color. I like the pretty horses. But over the years, we've kind of evolved in from being a very diverse herd in our colors to being mostly brown. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to show you how to tell a brown horse from a different brown horse. Okay, now there are three main shades of brown, and we don't call any of them brown. Okay, so the first shade is bay. That is a reddish brown horse with black legs, a black mane, and a black tail. Okay, sometimes their mane and tail are actually a really dark red, so it can be anywhere from dark red to actual black. Okay, so that's a bay. That's number one. Number two is a chestnut. Okay, now a chestnut is a really dark, rich, reddish color. Okay, and their mane and tail have to be the exact same shade as their coat or darker. If it is lighter, then that is another color called a sorrel, and a sorrel is more like an orangey brown. Hi, Duchess. And then, so if you look at Duchess, she is actually a red dun roan. Okay, so she's a dun because she's got this dorsal stripe, where you think of like Spirit, the movie Spirit of the Cimarron, where the horse has a dorsal stripe. That horse was a shade of dun. So she is a reddish brown color with that dorsal stripe, so she's a red dun. She's got all these white little speckles, so she is a roan. Okay, so she's a red roan dun. And another reason why she's a dun is because she's got these zebra stripes on her legs. Those are called leg bars. Okay, so they can either be on all four or just even just one leg. That'll also make her a dun. This is red. Okay, so he is a chestnut. He's that deep reddish brown color. Would you please get away from me? I don't have any treats. Well, I do. They're just in my pocket and they're not for you. Okay? Hi. Let's look at your color. Okay? So he is a deep, dark red with a mane, excuse all the mud, he's been rolling, with a mane that's darker than his actual coat color. Okay? So he is a chestnut. And a lot of people get chestnuts and sorrels confused because they are very similar. Okay? So Comanche's another chestnut. He's that dark reddish brown. Rosemary, I would call her a chestnut also. So those are our three chestnuts. Now this is another red dun, which you can look at both red duns next to each other. They both have those dorsal stripes right there and right there. Excuse me, Red. Their tails are a dark red. They both have, Penny doesn't have very pronounced leg bars, but she does have them. Hi, Penny. They're very faded. She also has shoulder bars, excuse me. So those same zebra stripes are also on their shoulders sometimes. Being out in the pasture makes videoing very difficult. But she doesn't have any roaning, okay? So she's just a red dun, where Duchess is a red roan dun. Hi. So she's got a lot of color patterns, and she's very unique, especially in the springtime. Each year she gets more and more roan. So she's really cool looking. Now here we have Manchi. Not to be confused with Comanche. This is a little Manchi, and he is a dark bay. And dark bay is the only color that you can actually call a brown. Okay, so when in the horse world, if you say you have a brown horse, this is what people think. Okay, so he is a really, really dark brown with a darker mane and tail and dark legs. Okay. Dreamer here is also a dark bay or a brown, but she's a mahogany. Okay, so she's a slightly different shade. So where he's got more brown, she's got more black with red points. Okay, so like her flank is red, her hindquarters are a little red, and her nose are red, and it's like a reddish purplish, and that is a mahogany bay. Okay, or a mahogany brown. Now this is Hershey. She is a bay. Okay, so she's a traditional bay, as well as Liberty, and they're gonna get kind of grumpy here because they're all fighting over what they think I have in my pockets. So here are two plain bays, and they're just playing with each other. So that's Hershey. She's got that dark reddish brown coat, black mane and tail. Like, she's the epitome of a bay. Okay, there's no debate on what color she is. She's not a brown because she's not a dark bay. She's just a traditional bay. Okay, are you girls? Actually, not girls, girl and boy. Shyla is also a bay. She's more of a bright bay, so she's a lighter bay. And so she's got black mane and tail, black legs, and kind of a lighter brown color. Now, we come over here, we're gonna talk about the Sorrels, which is another shade of brown. So this horse right here, this is Jules. Not you, Dreamer. Get out of the way. She's still got her birthday extensions in. Yeah, we made her a unicorn. And she is an orangey shade of brown. Okay, so she's not a chestnut because her mane is significantly lighter than her coat color, and she's really orange. Okay, so it's hard to tell from the video how orange she really is. It's also a cloudy day, but when the sun is shining, she's just orange. Okay, so a sorrel is more of an orange than a red. Here are three more sorrels, and they are our seniors over here. Not Gunner. Yeah, you're not sorrel, you're a buckskin. Anyway, so these are three sorrels. Okay, so you can see they're orangey, their manes are lighter than their coat color. Hi, old girl. Now, Nutmeg right here, she's pretty old. Okay, don't let her sway back scare you. She's one of our senior horses. She's almost 30. But what I wanted to show you, besides the fact that she's like super gross right now, she is in need of a bath, is her mane is a unique color. Okay, so her mane is something called a flaxen mane, which is where it is a really pale red color. And flaxen manes can, hi, do you want to be in this video more? Yeah? She's like, film me instead. No, you don't have a flaxen mane, so I can't talk about this with you right now. Anyway, so it can either be like a pale red. She's got a lot of white hairs in here. It can even be as light as white. Okay, so she's a sorrel with a flaxen mane, which she is a splashed pinto. Because if you look under her belly here, she's got all those white spots and speckles, and her legs. Get your face out of the camera, Maple. And her legs are white. So I would call her a splashed pinto. Now, if you're watching this video and you look at Nutmeg and you're like, oh my goodness, she's old, she's skinny, you know, put some weight on that horse. A couple things about her, and I've said this in other videos. So Nutmeg, for one, is retired, okay? So we don't ride her. Number two, she's got something called a sway back, which is a lack of muscle in their back themselves, which pushes all of the weight of their stomach in the middle of their back, and their back is not strong enough to support that. It doesn't cause any pain. It's not hurting her at all. A lot of people will argue with me and go, oh my goodness, she's, you know, she looks in so much pain, blah, 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 blah. That's not the case. And if you talk to any vet, any equine professional, horses with swayback are not in a lot of pain, okay? Sometimes it has to do with genetics. Sometimes it has to do, it's very common with brood mares who are constantly carrying babies, and it's just weighs on their back a lot, puts a lot of extra strain on them. She's also she looks like she's molding because she's, hi honeybee, she's in the middle of shedding, so that doesn't help her case at all. And since she's shedding, she's been rolling in the mud a lot to try to get that loose hair off. So she's also almost 30 years old, okay? So she's got a lot of things going against her. She's super sweet, super gentle. She still has a lot of energy. She's not lazy. She's not a horse that I'd look at her and be like, oh my goodness, we need to put this horse down, okay? If that was the case, I would make that decision. I would not prolong that, okay? If I look at a horse and think that they need to be put down, I would make that decision for them. She is a little bit on the ribby side, okay? You know, just coming out of winter, adjusting to the green grass, stuff like that. In addition to that, she does have swayback, and we don't want to put a lot of extra weight on her. I do see that she is underweight, okay? I'm not excusing that. That's something we're working on. We've changed feeds, and coming onto the green grass, it'll take a little while for her to adjust. But if you have a horse with swayback, you don't want them to be overweight, because that does put a lot of extra strain on the horse's back, okay? So this is Ginger. She is a registered American paint horse. She's quarter horse bred, but a pinto in color, because she has all that roaning. She's got white legs, white face. She's got a big white mark on her belly if I come to the other side. But she is a sorrel as her main color. There you go. That's the glory of Ginger right there. She is sorrel in color. So she's that bright orange, light mane and tail. So yeah, you look at the whole herd together, they all look brown. But if you look closely, you can pick out the different shades and the different colors that we do have. So that, hopefully that helps you if you go to a stable or a ranch, or if you go to a rodeo, and you can be a little bit wiser than everybody else who says, oh, another brown horse. You can be like, actually, that's a bay, or that's a sorrel, or that's a chestnut. But yeah, that's just gonna be something cool for you to have in your pocket. Just to go over it again, that is Dreamer. She's a mahogany bay. That's Maple. She's a sorrel. That right there is Jules. She's also a sorrel. That's a bay, that's a bay, that's a dark bay, and that's a chestnut, okay? Then you have bay, done, chestnut, done, chestnut. That's a black pinto, okay? It's a little different. We got something different out here. Sorrel roan, buckskin pinto, palomino pinto, and then sorrel, splashed sorrel pinto. So, yeah. I hope that clears the color confusion up, that not every horse that you look at and think brown is actually brown. Brown is actually more of a unique color because it's that dark bay would be considered a brown. So if you want to have your equine savvy, don't call horses brown unless they look like that. Okay? Hope that clears things up. If you have any questions about a horse's color or anything like that, please feel free to ask that in the comments. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel if you want to see other videos like this. Have a nice day, guys, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.